Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to the commissioners. I'd like to just quickly introduce myself. I'm Kelly Buckland. I'm the Executive Director of the National Council on Independent Living, and it's my honor to appear before you today on behalf of our membership, which is composed of Centers for Independent Living, statewide independent living councils, and individuals with disabilities, to discuss the importance of improving poll worker training with regard to disability and accessibility, increasing recruitment of poll workers with disabilities, and improving the lines at polling places. Just a quick point of personal privilege, if I may. I'd like to recognize Mr. Jim Dixon, who is co-chair of the Nickel Voting Rights Committee as well, and is in the room. According to a study conducted by Doug Schur and Lisa Cruz of Rutgers University, Mira Adya of Syracuse University, 15.6 million voters with disabilities voted in the election of November 2012, a number which is comparable to the number of African Americans, 17.8 million, and Hispanics, 11.2 million, who voted. Unfortunately, among voters with disabilities surveyed in this study, 30.1% reported experiencing one or more difficulties in voting. Only 8.4% of voters without disabilities faced difficulties. Furthermore, among persons with disabilities who have not voted within the last 10 years, 40.1% of respondents said that they would anticipate some difficulty voting if they wanted to vote at the polling place. And that's compared to only 1.2% of people without disabilities who have not voted in the last 10 years. However, there is almost no difference between voters with and without disabilities when it comes to being treated with respect by election officials at the polling place. 86.8% of voters without disabilities and 84.7% of voters with disabilities surveyed reported that they were treated very respectfully by poll workers. And that's been my personal experience too. I've been always treated with the utmost respect and professionalism by the poll workers. One way to potentially improve of disability and accessibility at the polls would be to increase the recruitment of poll workers with disabilities. Deanne Hart, a member of the Nickel Voting Rights Subcommittee, is legally blind and has been a poll worker in Delaware County, Indiana, and she offered this insight. The significance of people with disabilities being poll workers demonstrates the importance of our inclusion, acceptance within the community, and the power we all have to stand up for our civil rights. As a person with a disability, a person with a significant visual impairment, legally blind, at first I was hesitant to volunteer to be a poll worker. To date, I have previously served in every poll worker position. Sheriff, clerk, judge, and inspector. The latter, inspector, is where I've really found my niche. I work with 6 other individuals on election day, 2 sheriffs, 2 clerks, and 2 judges. We work as a team. As in any job, you have essential functions and transferable functions, and you delegate responsibilities when appropriate. The inspector and 2 opposing party judges make up the precinct election board, and I turn to them for help as needed. Also, would just like to mention that my wife also has a disability, and she's also an election worker and a poll worker, and she showed me that the election officer manual that they provide in Fairfax County, and I noticed on the web so that there's a gentleman there from Fairfax County, and he mentioned recruiting poll workers with disabilities. So I think that's really interesting, and there's a section on how to treat people with disabilities at the polls in the training guide that Fairfax County uses. So, and I read through it, and it's really good information. And and my wife really enjoys her time at the polls when she works the elections. I mean, it's long hours, but she really enjoys being there and doing it. So I think that's something that we should try to expand on. There's, in my written testimony, which I will submit for the record, or I can provide it electronically if you so desire, there's a number of resources that we point out that you can use to recruit people with disabilities at the polls. Most of them are organizations that work with people with disabilities, including nickel, of course. And then just quickly, I want to mention a study that was done on poll worker training programs, and this was done at Paraquad, which is a Center for Independent Living in St. Louis. And there's a number of, I see my time's running short, so there's a number of facts and figures about the study that they did on poll workers with disabilities at Paraquad, and suffice it to say, researchers found a lot of significant issues around disability at the polls, and so we also provided, if you will, a map that kind of shows what we think is one of the best ways to lay the process out. And then finally, over half the poll workers in this study, over half the poll workers exposed to Election Day job aid reporting used it, and among those who utilized the aid, 90% reported that they felt that the aid was very helpful. This is talking about having an aid at the polls because of the job, and it was successful as compared to mixed results of the training. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I see my time has expired, and I want to thank you. And like I said, I'll leave the copy of my testimony for the record, and we can provide it in electronic format too if you
Thank you. What we're going to do is have everyone give brief remarks, and then we'll open it up for questions. But we will submit all your information for the official record.